Hello, I'm Vern Cole, founder of the Hair Restoration Institute of Minnesota, and I'm here today with Bob Sansevere of the KQRS Morning Show. Welcome, Bob, you and your family. So who do we have here today?
Thank you, and I'm here with Shane and Sienna, and you know, there's some people who look at them, and it's happened to be where they think these are my grandchildren. They are, in fact, two of my 5 children. They're the 2 youngest. I have a 17-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 10-year-old, and Shane is 6 and Sienna is 3. And I guess I probably looked older than my years for a long time, because they're actually, when my 17-year-old was about Sienna's age, I had people thinking she was also my grandchild.
Well, you're answering my next obvious question, Bob, and I want to thank you for joining me and really your willingness to talk about this interesting stuff that we grow on our heads called hair. You know, Bob, when I first met you and you told me your reason for wanting to do something about the hair loss, it occurred to me that I hear this scenario quite often. And I thought it would be really cool for the viewers to not only to hear your story, but to kind of follow your journey of getting your hair back. So that being said, the first question would be, what would you say ties your family together with wanting to move forward and doing a hair restoration procedure?
Well, I think it does go back to, I'd like people, because there's no question in my mind that more hair will equal, in my mind and the minds of many, a little bit younger or youth. I probably have looked older for years of what I am, and I do think that having more hair will make me look younger. Maybe not everyone will look and say, hey, grandkids, because I want people to look and say, well, make the connection that they're actually my children and not assume. And I also want my kids to look at me and not be thinking, old man. You know, I think in a lot of ways a full head of hair does equate to a little more youthfulness and youthful appearance. And Vern, you and I have had this discussion. I've been conscious of my hair since the 4th grade. When a teacher was walking by the desk, he stops, takes a step back, leans back, looks at my top of my head and says, you're going bald. Now, I think it was just a cowlick. But, I mean, to hear that in the 4th grade, it stays with you. And the fact that I'm recounting it now, it has stayed with me for decades.
So, well, let me ask you this, Bob. How do you feel hair ties in with your appearance and also how it affects how you feel?
Well, I don't think there's, just even getting a haircut, if it's been too long, you feel better about yourself. And I think, frankly, having hair, more hair and hair in the places where it used to be, it just, when you get hair that used to be there, how could you not feel younger? Because it's sort of like kicking back the clock a little bit to remind you what it was like when you had, a lot of hair here. I actually don't realize how thin I am in this area until I look at a photo of the back of my head, which you don't see. None of us see a lot of those photos. But I had said something to my wife just a few months ago about, I saw it and I said, I'm not really that bald in the back of my head, am I? She said, well, yeah, you are. And you don't realize, but that's not an area you really look at, but that's a big part. And also up front here, I remember when my hairline was quite a bit lower than it is now, and I'd kind of like to get close to where it was before. I just don't see, there's no downside to it.
So why do you feel you chose to do the hair transplant modality? Out of all the modalities that we talked about, is there a reason why you chose to do the hair transplant?
Well, every modality you said holds interest, but frankly, this seems to be the one that will give more of a, it'll be quicker. You have the hair transplant and then it's there. The other ones will, would work and could work, but there's just a longer period of time. And I guess maybe because the way I'm not a real patient person. I heard about it and I realized, hey, yes, I can do it. There could be a little more, a longer period to wait, but why not just get it done? So, in a matter of a few hours, I could have, I'll have hair where it hadn't been before. And that, frankly, that's kind of an intriguing and a little bit exciting thing. And as I've said before, it does bother you a little bit when you hear the thing about, oh, your nice grandkids, and they're not your grandkids, they're your kids. So I figure, why wait on that too? We'll have this procedure, and then I could move on a little bit. Now, people may still think, maybe they will think that, but I kind of think they won't, just because I think they'll look and not jump to that conclusion. Okay. And I notice my sensitivity toward being called their grandparent. Even look at Sienna. She's even afraid to look at me now. Because I'm probably looking too old, right, honey?
Any other reasons that prompted you, to make the decision to move forward doing the procedure? Anything else you can think of?
Well, I mean, I think, frankly, the biggest thing, again, is I think it'll make me look, who doesn't want to look younger? I mean, I've never met anyone that said, boy, I can't wait to look old. That's a big part of it. And frankly, this goes back, almost 20 years. I remember being in a store sitting there while my wife and we did foster care. Our oldest foster daughter was shopping, and people assumed that I was my wife's dad and the other kid was my grandchild. I must have looked old and craggy for a long time. But, I don't want people to think that, to look at my wife and I together and think that I'm, I am a few years older than her, but I'm her father, or that I'm her sugar daddy or something. So, because I'm certainly not that.
It's really amazing when people start doing things about their outer appearance and they start from the neck up. It is amazing the transformations that can take place from the neck down. It really is.
Well, the whole thing is, I've never had real big issues with self-esteem, despite the fact that that teacher really bothered me in the 4th grade. But I think I will feel better, and it just makes sense that once you start one little thing, and I'm not minimizing this is a little thing, but one thing like this could really have an impact on just your entire mindset. At least that's how I'm approaching it. There's no downside to it.
Yeah, and I think you're doing it at a really good time. Not only your age, but the fact that you still have a lot of good growing hair up there. It's not like you're going to be going from completely bald to all of a sudden showing up with hair. Because no matter how good it looks, even after, and it's going to look good, it's going to be obvious if you went from bald to having hair. So, and I think that's really, a lot of people think that they have to wait till they're bald before they do something. Well, you really don't have to.
Well, and I know that what I'm looking forward to is now, the nice thing about having a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old is I will have someone around when I need somebody to put the little yellow tennis ball on my walker. At least when I'm going, I'm not going to be without any hair. I'll have a nice head of hair to go up and, we'll go down the street with my walker and have them trailing behind with a little can of tennis balls to fix me up. Right, honey? Well, she really does have a face here somewhere.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming in today. Thanks for sharing and for your willingness. We'll see you guys back in about 9 months or so. So thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Oh, we're looking forward to it.
There you go, everyone. Bob Sansevere and family. We'll see you in the near future, and thanks for joining us today.